All right, so I know that there has been like a lot of people online on social media, especially on YouTube, who have posted videos and stuff about, you know, 9 to 5s and everything. I wouldn't want to work at 9 to 5. Some people say I'd rather die than work at 9 to 5 and everything, and that has basically got him. It's basically gotten me thinking. Saying like, what if like all those 9 to 5 jobs, what if they all just disappeared? What if like no more 9 to 5s existed and everything, and stuff. We didn't have to get up and go to work and stuff. We didn't have to do anything. What if like all of them just completely disappeared and everything? They didn't exist, and us humans, we were just free to, you know, roam the earth and everything, do whatever we want, do whatever we need to do and everything, that type of stuff. That's basically what I've been uh, thinking about, and that's something that I kind of wanted to discuss in this video and stuff. So basically, I got my script over here. I'm still new to this, but uh, so basically, you know, uh, that question that we always ask on a rough Monday. What if I just quit and never worked again? Well, today I want to take that further. Not just you quitting, but everyone. No jobs, no gigs, no 9 to 5s. Just humans free to roam the earth as we please. Would that be okay, or would we lose our minds? This has been something that I've been thinking about for quite some time after seeing like all those videos that people have posted, those dissensus people have posted on Twitter or X and stuff like that. This is something I've been thinking of, and I want to, talk about it. And want to talk about it and honestly think like what would happen, not the fantasy, but the real messy, human truth and stuff. So, basically, the short answer to this, I'd say initially, many of us would feel, euphoric and stuff. No alarms, no emails, no commute, for the first few weeks. Feeling like, it's a permanent vacation, like a vacation that would never end. But I'd say that, like, basically within like a few months, maybe a year, most people would not be okay. And here's the key to it. It's not because we need slavery. It's not because we secretly love being told what to do. It's because we need structure, purpose, and social feedback loops. And jobs, for all their flaws and stuff, they currently provide those things, which I think is like something that some people do not want to admit, or they believe deep down, or they just don't want to admit it about all the jobs that we have right now. We obviously wouldn't miss the 9 to 5s. We would just miss having a reason to get up in the morning, or a tribe that needs us, and the satisfaction of finishing something hard. So basically, you know we tackle the boredom question first, because people always say, no, I never get bored. Oh, I'd travel, I'd read, I'd paint, or I'd focus more on hobbies. Do basically anything that I wanted to do. But here's the thing: boredom isn't just a lack of activity. It's a lack of meaningful challenge and stuff. So basically, psychologists, they talk about this so-called flow states, which are these moments when you're so immersed in just the right challenge that you lose track of time. Um, Now, jobs, on the other hand, they give us a broken corporate version of that, but they still give us deadlines, customers, and deliverables. Now, you go and you take that away, you're not on permanent vacation. You're in permanent emptiness. So let's wind the clocks back a little bit. Let's look at the early pandemic lockdowns. People with no jobs and nowhere to go didn't just relax. They started baking sourdough, building birdhouses, what else? Coding useless apps. They created busy work just to feel progress. Or, look at lottery winners who quit work. Many of them, well, obviously not, not all of them, but like, many of them, they reported depression, restlessness, even, isolation and stuff. Because, once that novelty fades, you're left with the terrifying question: what am I going to do with all of this time that I now have in my hands? So, um, so yes, we would create new problems, but they wouldn't be, practical problems like, like where's the food? Those might be solved. The problems would be social and psychological. And honestly, if you really sit there and think about it, that could be worse than working a 9 to 5. So first, status status games go nuclear. So, without job titles or salaries, how do you measure worth? Followers, territory, social influence, charisma, and people would compete fiercely for attention and prestige. And once things like that happen, things get nasty fast. Uh, so, have you ever seen what happens when people have too much free time and no direction? Drama, gossip, feuds, pranks that escalate. Without productive outlets, we'd invent conflict just to feel alive, just to, feel something. Think of, Lord of the Flies without, with better camping gear. So, jobs they force us to compete with strangers, different ages, backgrounds, politics, in offices, warehouses, hospitals. Remove that glue. We fragment into roaming clans, and history shows that stateless, jobless societies often had higher rates of violent death than modern ones. Now, obviously, I'm not saying we descend into anarchy overnight, but the pressure would build. And the problems we invent would be human problems, such as jealousy, status, revenge. Those are the kinds of things that no amount of technology would ever be able to fix. So, here's the nuance. A small minority would be able to thrive. Think of like self-directed creators, artists who already make work without clients, inventors who tinker for joy, intense explorers, people who genuinely just want to talk, map, observe, or never settle. Also, community builders, people who organize festivals, rituals, shared gardens without it ever being a quote unquote job. They'd be fine, maybe even happier. But the rest of us people who have been working, been working on 9 to 5s for many many years, we'd reinvent job structures voluntarily. Guard duty rotations, cooking schedules, skill sharing apprenticeships. Because humans, we don't hate work. We hate work that isn't ours. If that makes any sense. We hate work that feels imposed, meaningless, or disconnected from our values. If given freedom, we choose our own forms of contribution, but we'd still choose contribution because we need to be needed. And there's also one more thing I want to point out, and it's the catch in like what I said before. Basically, I said, like, if 9 to 5 jobs cease to exist and everything, like every single one of them, humans were free to roam the earth as we please, do whatever we want. Roaming freely only works if no one maintains water treatment plants, harvests medicine, or fixes the Wi-Fi towers. Basically, if basic needs are not magically met, if there's like still scarcity, then quote unquote roaming just just means resource wars within weeks. So this thought experiment only works if we assume everything is provided for us, like I don't know, like a Star Trek reflectors or whatever. And honestly, if that's the case, then we're obviously not talking about survival anymore. We're talking about meaning, and that is a far harder problem to solve. So honestly, after all of that, I think that my honest answer would be that we wouldn't be okay at first. Many of us would struggle, but over time we'd rebuild. Obviously not the old 9 to 5, but something better, something more autonomous, more collaborative, more human. But the real question isn't would we be okay. It's what's beautiful, and what beautiful and terrible new problems would we invent to replace the old ones? Because um, because we are meaning making creatures, and we will find meaning or we will manufacture it, even if it hurts, even if it's, it's messy. That's what we do. Um, this was just something that I had thought about for quite a lot of time. All the things I've seen on social media and everything, that type of stuff. So yeah, that's it.